The Sharim, we were talking last time about different types of fear of Hashem. We said the first level is fear of punishment, and we said that's only for Amearis, simple-minded people. And the higher level is not to disappoint Hashem, and Yaviyat Romemut, and have awe from the greatness of Hashem and how you want to become close to Hashem. And therefore, you're always going to be worried not to let down HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because how much you owe Him, how much He does for us. And therefore, that's called Nikret Yireh Het. That's called a person who's fearful of sin. Ki akara yirah min ha-het shelo yikanes v'yitarev ma'asav machmat pshia v'trashlut u'machmat ha'elem. The main fear of sin is what? Is the essence of it is not to fall into a bad deed, because of negligence, because of laziness, because of forgetting something, whatever way it comes out. So it comes out, there's two parts to this fear of romemut, fear of disappointing Hashem, which is in the present and in the future, and then there's another part which is in the past. What does it mean in the present? It was what we mentioned now. When I'm moving forward, I don't want to do anything bad against Hashem because how much awe I have for Him, and I don't want to let Him down. But be'ever, and in the past, ba'avar, hushiyeh adam choshev tamid lema shekvar asa ve'yira ve'yidag pen yatsa mitach yadav ezechet belo sheyeda. Person has to understand the Shem is saying that whatever we already did, we have to be constantly worried to make sure that it was correct, and that I made sure I did it the right way, and it shouldn't be that if afterwards I find out it was a sin. For example, there was one of the Geonim. Right? I'm not sure which one. One of the Geonim was staying by somebody's house as a guest, and this Balabai didn't know who the rabbi was. He's a Gaon, he's amazing. So then he's a big Chacham. So he didn't know. He treated like a regular person, And then afterwards, Motzei Shabbat, he saw all these students come, and he said, "Gaon, the rabbi, oh," and they're kissing his feet. And he said, "Who are you? Who is this?" They said, "You know who this is? This is Rabbi Gaon." Rabbi Gaon, what? Unbelievable. This is who I had in my house. I didn't know. He's coming. He throws himself at the feet of the rabbi, and he's crying to him. And he's saying, "I'm sorry, Mehila. And he says, why are you crying? He says, because if I would have known before, I would have treated you different. I'm so sorry. So he says, that's how sometimes we look to Hashem. Hashem, I know you so much better today than 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I barely knew anything from anything. Now, how I serve you today, it's an embarrassment how I served you before. It's an embarrassment how I prayed to you before. I feel bad about it. And I have to make the shuvah on all that stuff that I did. And that's part of also having yireh, being fearful of sin. Okay. So therefore, a person has to also know that we're very fearful of things, doing wrong things in our business, for example. People lock their homes, right? They're scared that something might happen to the house. They want to put extra security, put a couple locks. They put the chain, put 2 locks, right? And the bank, they put cameras, they put laser system, safe with multiple bolts, right? The security guards outside. They don't want even a chance of something happening that they should lose the good that they have, right? The money that they have. Person has to know that he should be the same way, right? What do we say? We're in Parashat Shofatim, much later, right? Shofatim v'shoteri titen lecha b'chol sha'arecha, right? So the Balei Musar say, B'chol sha'arecha, all your gates means gates to your soul. Your eyes, your ears, your nose, your mouth, right? There's the gates to your soul. And you have to put what over there? Shofatim v'shoterim. You have to put officers and judges over there. What? 1 second. This song is coming into my ears. 1 second. Is it allowed or not allowed? It's kasher or not kasher? Is the will of Hashem or not? Wow. I have to do officer, like a customs. 1 second. Open the bag. What's inside over here? Is approved or is not approved? And then you have food. They bring you go into a restaurant. 1 second. Shofetim and shotrim. 1 second. We're allowed. This is allowed to come in or is not allowed to come in? It goes in. It goes out. The person also, when it goes out, he speaks with the words he's going to come out of his mouth. This is a permitted word or is a forbidden word? Am I allowed to say this type of speech or not? So all these things, you see, that person when he does business, before he invests, he checks 10 times if it's good investment. Before he goes to the doctor, before they inject him, he asks 10 times, what is the side effects? Or do I need this? What's the alternative? Another option, second opinion. When it comes to our food, our speech, our music, all these kind of things, we have to be the same way. We have to be the same way. We have to be extra careful, and that's a sign of yireh, the fear of sin. He brings a story. Tversky brings a story over here. The Hasidic masters, he got up from the Shabbat table Friday night, and he accidentally hit the table. He accidentally hit the table and caused one of the candles to fall and turn off on Shabbat. He violated Shabbat. He started crying and crying and crying. All his students try to console him and telling him, Rabbi, this is not your fault. It was anus. It was a total accident. You bumped the table. How would you know? You didn't realize, and then it's not your fault that the candle fell. So what happened? He says, it's not the sin that bothers me. He says, but the Torah says, Avera goreret avera. A sin leads to a sin. What sin did I do that made me come to this point that I did this sin? Meaning, I know I didn't do a sin, but why did Hashem make it that I had to bump the table? There's a reason why. There's a reason why it happened by accident. Not for no reason, nothing. So therefore he says, I'm upset about the sin I did before. So because Avera goreret avera. So therefore, what do we see? We see that a person, he doesn't only think about the future. He's also worried about the past, and you have to realize that small bacteria can come into your body and develop, become a whole sickness, right? Whole huge thing. But a person who doesn't even let a small bacteria come into him, he's careful, he won't get sick. So therefore we have to know, if we're not careful with the small sins, it'll eventually lead to the bigger sins, and Chas V'Shalom, get to the point where you're completely sick. And that's why he says, or Tversky says over here, he says one of his patients was an alcoholic, and many times he fell or relapsed. And he says, I told him, you have to get your stuff together, and he kept falling. His employer found out that he was going through all this, and he says, I give you one last chance, not to be drunk during the day again, and if you don't, I fire you. So then what happened? He realized that no one else is going to hire him. This is his only chance. And he got serious. It really hit his heart, and he changed his way, and he started becoming serious. But what? We don't need to get to the point like that. People shouldn't wait till their life is on the line, their parnas is on the line, and then they wake up. Yerechet means if any small mistake I know could lead to a bigger mistake like this, so therefore even the smaller ones I don't allow to begin to happen. So B'ezrat Hashem, we should be zocheh, that we should be machmir, kala kebahamura. The most lenient of averot, like the most strictest averot, because en ata yodea matan scharan, and you don't know the value, the reward of mitzvah, you don't know the punishment. Therefore, we have to keep all of them equally. Baruch Adonai.